In the words of physicist Steven Weinberg, the word universe, I suppose, should probably mean the whole thing. So naturally, and especially in this modern age, we refer to the universe as everything stretched from one end to the other, no matter the size it comprises. So what is the multiverse? Does it add up to being part of the whole universe? How and why would a multiverse exist? And what proof of its existence do scientists have? Now imagine the possibility of a multiverse, a repeated or repetitive creation of another universe completely parallel to ours, in a sense that it exists with ours, but differs completely from ours. You might be caught up in the idea that this is just a movie stunt or movie plot that has no meaning to it and is completely biased or fantasies, and for one, you wouldn't be absolutely wrong or right. The idea of a multiverse first ever created is believed to have appeared in comics made in earlier ages, but it is also seen as an idea coined in 1895 by the American philosopher William James to relay his ideas of a confusing moral meaning of natural phenomena and not to other possible universes. Later down the line, the idea of a multiverse seemed more prevalent with the theory of energy inflation that is theorized to have taken place in the early times of our universe. Less than a second old, implying that the multiverse may have existed since the dawn of time and possibly being created with ours. You might still be skeptical about the idea, and although this video doesn't aim to decide if the multiverse exists or not, it does try to explain the discovery from scientists that led them to this belief. It's also important to know that the idea of a Big Bang, one mostly accepted by today's society about the creation of life, was first prospered by Georges Lemaitre, a cosmologist and Catholic priest, as a departure from scientific orthodoxy in the 1930s. This is to say, most great ideas used to explain life today were essentially figures of speech and more or less born from imagination. As the focus is multiverses, we try to accept the theory and play it as a real card to see how it contrasts with our world today, as science is definitely based on hypothesis and the spiral of ideas all thrown forward on a table to be judged, removing all the inconsistent ones until the most perfect idea is drawn. The idea of multiverses quite differs from that of an expanding universe. That is to say, a multiverse is one that directly mirrors the world you are in now, taking an anti-clockwise motion from your personal reality of a clockwise reality. This differs from an expanding or foregoing reality where Big Bangs are estimated to keep blowing up billions or even trillions of light years away, creating a newer universe. In the multiverse theory, there would have to be one, the first universe or world created from it, where multiple other shadow worlds or mirror worlds spun. If you were living in the first world, and not a mirror one, then whatever decision you take would probably differ in opposite to what the other takes. Or would it? Over time, many have questioned if these realities are even true, and if they were, wouldn't they just be illusions of the first one? And wouldn't they completely differ from our world? Or rather, if they were the exact opposite, wouldn't that mean they are just exactly like us? Whereas if you look in the mirror and raise your right arm, your reflection would seem to be raising his right, but actually it's his left, meaning life would just be the same and would only differ based on the opposite chance of time and direction. Some even theorized that these worlds would not exist mostly because everything that happened in our solar system with how the Earth was formed was essential for life, whereas the existence of a multiverse isn't. While there are so many ways you could look at a multiverse, its idea still stems from the fact that it's a parallel or spectrum of parallel worlds made from one and having some connection to it, like a host computer sharing original data to subordinate computers to which the data is interchanged. So how does science explain this concept? Well, using the energy inflation theory, this concept is more well defined. Physicist Alan Guth was the first to propose this idea of an expanding universe based on energy inflations, with just enough level of force to create the Big Bangs and everything left in its wake. It was through his idea that the concept of multiple universes mirroring their parent universe was born, first created by Russian-American physicist Andrei Lind. The idea of multiverses was created around the mysteries that scientists till this day haven't been able to discover about energy inflation and Big Bangs. They believe this explains the creation of multiverses more appropriately. Ever heard of the theory of eternal inflation? This is a term used to describe energy inflations that still exist out in dark space, waiting to convulse and explode into a Big Bang, creating a whole new universe. This theory then explains how each new universe created would differ on a large scale from older ones adopting a completely different set of laws for which life would follow. If this theory holds true, it would mean that universe is still being created due to energy inflation out there which hasn't contracted, but once they do, the universes born from them would very much follow new rules of physics from the ones our universe does. From this, it is believed that after each universe is created, a bubble universe is created alongside it at its edge, acting as a mirror or parallel to the original one. Even as these bubble universes are created, you wouldn't be able to reach them as they move at the speed of light farther from their parent universes as universal expansion continues from eternal inflations. Another study of science that tends to explain the possible existence of multiverses is quantum mechanics. That's right. According to the laws surrounding quantum mechanics, elementary particles aren't subjected to one position or location, but rather can exist in multiple places in various states. This study of quantum mechanics also explained how particles weren't subjective to a particular state of motion or reaction, but could also interchange and exist and interact in various interchangeable motions, making the possibilities around them infinite. A good example of this was the double slit experiment, in which a card was given double slits and had light rays passed through them. The outcomes were different from what was expected by scientists, as the particles exhibited from the slits created fringes of different intensities. Rather than going in parallel lines, these particles were intertwined with each other, creating a series of fringes. Even when tested with fluid waves, the motions of the waves broke into more diverse motions, pointing to the capability of particles to act completely differently in various situations once tempered with. It was through this experiment that scientists believe in the possibility of multiverses following their own set rules. Although this wasn't a very famous experiment, as many were skeptical about how this would actually translate to a multiversal existence. Schrödinger's cat, an intriguing thought process that has caught a lot of attention, was made aware by Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger, who explained how the consciousness of humans isn't needed for particles to react as they need. He used the example of dropping a cat in a box with poison gas and how the particles would either kill and let the cat decay or kill without the decaying factor. How the cat left in the box would either be alive in the box or dead. The strange thought of why it should either be dead or alive wouldn't depend on consciousness for it to happen, and even if you weren't staring at the cat, the experiment would still carry on as decided by the particles. It's a great variation of explaining quantum mechanics and how multiverses could exist and wouldn't need our belief or disbelief to do so, or not. Hugh Everett did come to settle the debate of using the existence of a parallel or multiverses where in the original the cat would be dead, but the need to fulfill the purpose of the theory of why. To this effect, a parallel universe would be created in which the cat did or didn't die, contrasting the original. In the most recent discovery aimed at proving multiverses exist, NASA theorized an experiment in Antarctica through the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, where they searched for neutrinos of any kind as proof for multiverses existing. During their search by Hawaiian University scientists, they came upon a strange discovery where particles coming in from above seemed to change from what they were above the surface of the Earth to what they were once they crossed Earth's surface. As this puzzled the university scientists, NASA announced their belief that this stood as evidence for the existence of parallel universes mirroring ours where everything would be opposite. Time, space, you, and your reality. This caught a lot of attention, but also got millions of skeptical views. Even scientists have expressed there is no need for a multiverse as it doesn't really add up or make sense and only brings more questions than answers. Right now, the idea of multiverses are but theories with no solid evidence, but still many choose to believe in this as they see the hypothesis as evidence. There are also those who have asked questions that tend to break the existence of these multiverses. Still, elementary particles are known to not rely on consciousness to be and act as they do, so it's anyone's guess at this time, as the questions about this are why not fill up the blanks, and why would it?